Today's classic problem involves a ball which is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 80 meters per second. Now we have to calculate its height from the ground after 11 seconds from its launching. Now how do we approach this particular problem? The key to first approaching this problem is to draw a rough diagram of what actually is happening to the ball. The ball has been launched with a velocity initial of 80 meters per second. Now, the first step is to know what the time required by the ball is to achieve its maximum height. And how do we calculate that? Well, at its maximum height, which is h max, its final velocity is 0. So we can use the equation Vf is equal to Vi minus Gt, where t is the time required by the ball to reach the maximum height. So we solve for t over here, and we get that the value of t is 8.16 seconds. So we now have to calculate what the height of the ball is after 11 seconds. Now the ball has reached the maximum height h max at 8.16 seconds. Now we have to calculate where the ball is after 11 seconds. So we can say that 8.16 seconds have already passed from this calculated 11 seconds. So the remaining time is what? 2.84 seconds. We have to now calculate the traversed distance by the ball in 2.84 seconds. How do we calculate that? Well, we use the equation h is equal to ut plus half of gt squared, where ut is basically what? 0, since the initial velocity at maximum height is 0. So we have this half times 9.8 times 2.84 squared. T prime is basically over here what? T. So we have that h is equal to what? 13.916 meters. So what is actually happening over here? Well, if we go back to our original figure, we have that over here h max is basically this, and what h is basically this, which means the traverse distance by the ball in t prime seconds. Now we basically have to calculate what? This remaining height, which is our required height. So what do we do? We subtract h max. So we basically subtract h from h max. So we have that h max minus h is basically x, where x can be said that h max, the maximum height, is basically what? V squared over twice g minus 13.916. And if we plug in the values, we get that x is basically what? 80 squared over 2 times 9.8 minus 13.916, and this is basically 312.61 meters. And this is how you calculate the height of the ball after a given time interval. Well, that's all for today.